Do you love vintage, antique, and retro Christmas decor? If you do, keep watching. Welcome to the Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda. If you're thinking of decorating your home in the vintage Christmas style this year, then this video is a great way for you to get started and know what you're looking for when you go to the antique stores. The first thing you need to do is understand what kind of vintage you want. We have Kitschy Decor, which is 50s style, antique decor, which is kind of trending right now, and what I'm calling retro. It's the newest style that I believe is going to take over this year and next. Let's start with the Kitschy Decor because I think it's the most fun to hunt for when you're in the antique stores. So when I am looking for Kitschy Decor in the antique stores, or in the thrift stores, you can look for this anywhere. I'm in antique stores for this video though. I'm looking for things like this. This is a Putz house. I was so excited. This is the first one that I have ever found, and not only that, there were two of them here. And so I'm looking for things like this, real original vintage things from the 50s and 60s when I'm looking for the Kitschy Decor. I really don't know if these bulbs were the real deal or if someone had made them, but I love them just the same. And here's what I'll say about decorating with vintage, kitschy, whatever path you go down. Don't feel like everything has to be the original, thing, because reproductions can make me just as happy as having the originals sometimes. For example, the Santa mugs. At home, make some really cute Santa mugs. The originals are exciting to find, but if you just can't find them because they're getting hard to find, then reproductions are where you go. But the remnants of the 50s and 60s style Christmases are still around, even if it's just in small pieces. And here is a whole cart of kitschy Christmas items that I found at the antique store. And this package of angels was here last year when I was doing my vintage Christmas treasure hunt. I am a sucker for the die cuts. I love the cardboard cutouts from really long time ago all the way up to the 80s, 90s. I love them all. I think they're just so stinking cute. When you're digging through a cart like this or an old box of Christmas decorations in a thrift store, you're going to run across some weird looking stuff like this. And that is just part of the kitschiness of it, I suppose. I usually find a lot of these velvety flocked reindeer, and I don't know if that is a thing just in the Midwest, like our folks really liked them, or if it's a all across the board thing, but I find them a lot where I live. Of course, I'm always looking for the original tinsel trees. Those are always fun to find, especially if they have their color wheel. And if you want to do this kitschy Christmas decorating on a budget, I have the perfect video for you. It is linked in my description box below. I made a whole kitschy tree with tree skirt and everything. Now on to the second kind of vintage Christmas that I'm going to talk about, and that is antique Christmas. If these images are setting your heart aflutter, then you're going to want to check out the antique stores to find some of the things that you can find to make your dream vintage Christmas. So if I were decorating in antique Christmas style, I would be looking for brass items and some rustic sort of items like natural wreaths and pine cones, decorations made out of those things, and neutral colors. This whole set right here, a wooden crate with this beautiful wreath and this glass jug, makes such a pretty vignette. I like how the owner of this booth set this Christmas vase on top of an antique riser. So taking something that's not Christmassy, like this antique riser, and putting a Christmas floral vase on top of it, bam, instant antique Christmas decorations. And although not antique, this gold wire tree still fits the colors and would go perfect in an antique Christmas grouping. These brass horns would be the perfect thing to use as wall decoration, add some greenery, or just leave them plain. Or how about a velvet bow? You're also looking for mercury glass or anything that looks like mercury glass. I should have scooped these up. I left them on the shelf. I didn't buy anything because I'm watching my pennies and I'm just making these videos for y'all, but I should have snatched these up. I loved this wreath that someone made. It would go perfectly with an antique Christmas style. More brass items. So this little bell had an angel sitting on top of it. I thought it would be really cute. It could sit on top of a Bible or some hymnals for Christmas. These doily stockings were absolutely precious. I don't usually have linen napkins, but I do love these Santa Claus napkin rings. Some other things that I found were DIYs. I think someone had made these, put them together, and it was brilliant. The cloche and the tree and the deer, all is perfect. The way these trees were colored and just wispy, they were great for the antique Christmas look. And also, if you're thinking that you don't want to drag out your big old Christmas tree, sometimes setting up a grouping of these smaller trees is just as effective, and I think I might be doing it this year. I found these cast iron molds, and boy would they be cute in a basket in a Christmas kitchen. I kept running into these paper Christmas trees. I don't know if they're new or old, but I liked them. This little Santa, he won me over just by charm alone. I thought he was just so stinking cute with his little brown boots and playing his accordion, his little patches. Yeah. He would find a special place on the mantle. This is the first time I've seen any carolers like this, and I think they actually are antique. And here's another Christmas tree perfectly set up for an antique Christmas scene. So I've seen so many of these. The people that make these booths are so creative and they do it so well that you could go to the antique stores just for decorating ideas. Woolworths was the Christmas mega store. So back in the day, that's where a lot of people got their Christmas decorations. I love these angels. They would be so pretty just set out and sporadically on a bookshelf or on some kitchen open shelving. So at first this Santa Claus I thought was creepy, but then the more I looked at him, the more I appreciated the craftsmanship that went into him, and I wound up actually liking him. Antiques can be pricey, as we all well know, like $16 for this ceramic tree ornament. I love that tree ornament, and here's how I would look at it. If I'm thrifty overall with my purchases, then I can splurge on one $16 ornament. That would make me so very happy. And one final thought before we leave the antique style is to consider things that are not Christmassy. I think I've mentioned it before, but like the colors. This is the perfect Christmas teapot. And the last vintage Christmas style that I'll be talking about today is the retro vintage style. I first saw this Christmas tree when I was watching one of Jennifer Decorates videos. I'll link it in the description box below. She featured this tree in her video where she was talking about decorating retro vintage style. Jennifer was reporting what she had seen at the Atlanta market, and she saw a lot of kitschy and vintage style retro things, and so that was all kind of one category for her. But I'm gonna take it and split it one more time. No disrespect to Miss Jennifer, because I love her and she's very inspiring. But I feel like it's a whole totally different vibe in the feeling you get looking at this Christmas tree, which I think is more retro style, and the kitschy Christmas trees that you see. To get the look of the Christmas tree in the first picture, I think you need to look for kind of jewel tone color things that look kind of 70s even. Remember when Christmas trees had all the icicles hanging? That was the trend for the 70s and the 80s, maybe the 60s even is where it started. I'm not sure, but anything that would have went on an icicle tree like that, that's what you're aiming for. And here are some more of those paper ornaments, and with the red and green colors, I think they would go nicely on a retro Christmas tree. Now with this, I believe that you can stick with regular Christmas colors, your reds, greens, and golds, or you can look for the reflective ornaments that were also very popular at the time. The Christmas tree in Jennifer's video that I loved so much also had on the wall some gold frame pictures, so I would be looking for some of those. And also some little golden baubles to set around. I think any kind of super interesting statues, not just your normal Santas, but some interesting Santas would go. Maybe some crystal Santas. And I think he would go with the antique style too. This was an interesting, big old heavy Christmas tree, but it was also a bell, and I could not help myself. And although this is not a decoration that I would put out, probably, I don't think it's the cutest thing in the world, but it reminded me of this birdhouse. My mom had one of these hanging in our kitchen, and it was a birdhouse with a little blue bird. And the sound of these chimes, let me tell you. I feel like these would also be some really nice ornaments to look for a retro tree. Each one looks different, and they kind of look handcrafted. Now, as for the Christmas tree, you must get some velvet ribbon and some icicles, and I would think multicolor lights or clear lights would be just fine. Just make sure that they twinkle. So now that you know which vintage path you want to go down, kitschy, antique, or retro, you'll know what you're looking for. Thanks so much for spending time with me this evening. I'm going to be off until the first week of November, so I will be coming up with some new Christmas crafting ideas that you won't want to miss, and until then, I'll see you next time. Bye!